Sonique with Sky. Gary Lawyers in studio at 10:06.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Gary, how you doing? Wonderful to see you.
I'm doing great. Really, I am. Yes, yeah.
And something really special is happening in your life,
Very
which is
special.
why you're here. And tell us all about it.
I'm doing a tribute to my guru, Frank Sinatra, on Sunday, the 15th, at the Tata Theatre. The show is called Sinatra and Swing. The swing quotient allows me to bring in my other gurus as well. Nat King Cole, Dean Martin, Ray Charles, maybe even a Presley thrown in, whatever, you know. We've got a huge repertoire. In fact, tomorrow for the first time, we'll be timing this whole thing because we've got about 50 songs, you know. So it's a tribute I've always wanted to do, Rishi. And finally it's happening. So there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement, a lot of weird thoughts, and you know, a lot of anticipation actually. Yeah. I've never been so preoccupied. You know, I literally wake up thinking of these songs and what to keep, what to throw out. It's
When was the first time? When is the first time you listened to All Blue Eyes? Do you?
Oh my God!
Do you have
I've been listening to all these singers from the time I was born, literally. You know, my mother had a great Nat King Cole collection, and Nat being one of my favorites even till today. So, Blue Eyes, Nat King Cole, Ray Charles, Sinatra. I mean, these guys are my gods of music. I worship them. Yeah.
Who's going to be in the band when you perform?
I have a band that I've been using for the last 10 years actually. They're all boys from Pune. Exceedingly busy. The whole band is. Three of them are music teachers. So to name them, there's Chris Fonseca on guitar. There's Jason Philip on keyboards. Leo Matthews on keyboards. Ryan Fernandez on bass. And Denzel Fernandez on drums. So that is the basic core setup. We've asked a gentleman by the name of Amar Sukhi to join us on saxophone, you know. So very interesting actually, because we're taking this whole symphonic sound and trying to put it in a quintet kind of situation, you know.
And how long is it going to be? Is it a full 2-hour set? Or
I would imagine, yeah. Like I said, Rishi, we've got over 50 songs, you know, and growing sort of a thing, because with the band there's so many others, you know, other genres of music we do. So the whole thing is becoming like what to choose and what to play, you know. In fact, I'll do some private brainstorming in the evening and try and get some kind of
synergy to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And also on stage, then eventually what happens is if you have a template set down, then you can actually, you know, variate from it and do a bit of a jam there on the spot.
It depends. Yeah, a lot really happens. Like I say, if you're a well-rehearsed band and you have a huge repertoire, you know, then you can maybe I've kind of slid into so many things that I've never anticipated. You know, it just depends on the kind of reaction, whether it's a very live crowd, whether it's a very ballads crowd, whether it's just you know, you just go with the flow.
Songs which are definitely going to be there. Songs which will definitely make the set.
Strangers in the Night, My Way, you name it. New York. You know, we're also throwing in some. You know what I want to do in this show is kind of bring. I really believe music is all connected. You know, I mean, if you take jazz, jazz is what I think a lot of rock and roll came out of. In my humble opinion, I think the first rock and roller is Frank Sinatra. He's the guy who brought in that whole cool, you know, that whole phrasing, that whole vibe, as it were, which eventually freed the whole system, if you know what I'm saying, and brought in the rock and roll thing, and you know, like I can clearly see Elvis Presley being very influenced by Dean Martin. If you check the vibratos, you know, they're very similar. The way of singing, you know, certain ballads, etc. For that matter, even my other guru, Jim Morrison, he had Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley as his favorite singers. So you can see the phrasing and the whole texture. The whole approach to music is, so one thing is linked to the other.
Of course it is.
And that's what I want to try and bring out. Yeah.
Daddy Yankee, Luis Fonsi, Despacito. I look forward to some jazz standards and some of Gary's original stuff. I mean, where are tickets before we break into song?
Tickets, I believe, book my show and at the Tata Theatre itself.
At the venue.
At this point, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Back in a couple of minutes with Gary Lawyer. Despacito. We're streaming audio live across the nation on www.onecast.in and numeral1cast.in and online on your radio sets. It's 94.3 in the FM band right here in Mumbai City. And only if you're not driving, if you're in the backseat of a radio taxi, being chauffeur driven, or at home at the office without a radio set. Then we're streaming video live on Twitter and Periscope at HRISHIKAY. We managed to find Gary Lawyer on Twitter and we've tagged him. I don't know how active he is. Here he is. And Rini, all the way from Singapore, says, she's really happy to have caught you.
Really? Is that right? Hi, Rini.
I'm going to open that message and show it to you once Vinay lets go of the phone. Once the standard plays. So, Gary, this really is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This is not
For
like
me,
an annual affair.
It's the first time I'm doing this, with my band. And it's something I've always wanted to do. Beautiful arrangements, which we're trying to capture. And I've got this kind of bent towards this music. I really love... I love standards. And that's exactly what I've been doing these days. Every evening I record in my bedroom, I record a lot of jazz standards. I've reached, I think, about 92. Mm-hmm. And I wonder how far I'll go because I really know a lot of standards.
So you still use the SM58? Nice
exactly,
mic, isn't it? It's my go-to mic a lot of times.
My thing of choice, even in the studio, even when I'm doing albums and stuff. That's really become...
Yeah, I remember you telling me about one of your albums and how, you use that
use the
and build it out of your bedroom.
Yeah.
So you're doing all these standards, you're recording them, and you're looking forward to this. And the acoustics at the Tata Theatre, I mean, that's something that you've got to love.
Yeah.
Every time I've been in there...
If you get it right, it's perfect, Yeah. It's I think it's a little tricky in the sense that it's really so acoustically perfect that when you bring in amplification,
correct,
it can be.
One would imagine for theatre it's perfect.
Yeah.
But the moment you mic it up,
apart from having a great sound person, etc., my drummer Denzil is about the foremost sound engineers in India.
That's interesting.
So as long as he's he's probably, I'd say, about the finest I've ever worked with. And I've worked with a lot, So when he's around, I kind of feel safe.
Tell me about gigs that you've done. I mean, in an eventful career of so many decades, would you think Rang Bhavan is a great venue? Would you think IIT was a great venue?
It was like a shrine.
A Mecca,
it was like a temple. It was Mecca. It was unbelievable, that kind of whole energy. And ironically, the last time I went to Rang Bhavan to attend a show, I thought to myself, I said, I hope these guys really vamp this place, because it's so beautiful, such a lovely atmosphere. And the next thing I hear is it's closed, It was so ironical because that stage really had that whole, resounding kind of thing. And of course, we've done so many shows there. And we used to get audiences of thousands of kids here, really. They were wild
Other
shows.
than that, IIT, you've also been at Mood Indigo.
I've done every single... IIT, BITS, Pilani, and all the IITs.
Rookie, all that.
I've done the Osho Ashram, the turn of the century, opening for Bryan Adams. I mean, these are all great memories. It's when I started out, I really didn't know what to expect here. But it's been so wonderful, Hrishi. And I say this not for effect. I really think to quote my guru, I've done things my way, I'm not a guy who wants to be in a different city every day performing. So I pick and choose, and that's exactly what is happening to me at this stage of my life, I'm really in the ideal position here. Really.
Okay, listen, we're going to play All of Me. So just introduce the song, yeah?
All of Me is a classic. Something I've recorded in the house, with a nice track and a song that we'll be doing on Sunday.
Wonderful. So Sunday at the Tata Theatre, tickets are at Book My Show as well as the venue. Gary Lawyer live. It's an absolute treat. Let's do the song and come back. Post some messages. We're at 10:20. I'm Hrishi K. Gary's going to be with me through the course of the hour. Gary Lawyer's enjoying himself listening to some Billy Idol and Moni. It's what we call retro picks.
Yeah.
He's really the legend. Gary Lawyer is in every which way. A whole generation grew up on his music, including me and a whole lot of you out there. We're streaming audio online live across the nation on www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in, 94.3 on the FM band on your Mumbai radio sets. Only if you're not driving. We're streaming video live on Instagram at HRISHIKAY. More conversation with Gary. Sinatra and Swing is Gary live 7 p.m. on Sunday. Tickets are at Book My Show and at the venue. This is the Tata Theatre. Yeah, picturesque venue. And I'm sure Gary's going to fill it up.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
I'm really excited by the fact that you finally compiled all your music in one place. You know,
I finally got
all your fans would turn around and say,
I'm a little
"Where's the
slow
music?
when it
Where's the
comes to
music?"
social media.
So tell me about
Very
it.
slow.
First, tell us about the website and what we can find there.
Well, I finally got it done. I finally made a website which I should have many years ago. I've kind of little conscious about this whole social media thing. Maybe the personality or maybe just circumstances or whatever. I can't get myself to be like a self-promotion guy, which in a sense it really boils down to that, tweeting and Facebook and this and that. The most I do is literally just before a show I say, okay, tomorrow, Thursday the 15th or whatever, so and so place, that way. But I finally got a little wise and I thought I should get a website because a lot of people ask me. And now I built this website, or had it built, and it's got everything. It's got a bio, it's got links to all my albums, 8 of them, links to my videos. Also, the fact I mentioned earlier, I'm recording standards in the house, and I put those up as well. I've got, like I said, all my albums, including one with Louis Banks, a purely jazz one, we did years ago called High Standards. So everything is up there now, all under one roof, so to speak, finally.
Lovely, that's wonderful.
I think
the website again, for those people who've just tuned in?
It's GaryLawyerMusic.com.
GaryLawyerMusic.com.
Gary with a single R.
Yeah, remember that. It's Gary with a single R, Gary Lawyer. And go and check it out. And these are all songs which I think are definitely classics. Now, let's come back to Heaven's Child. The last time you were in here, we were talking about the song and what it means to you.
That
video.
album is an exceptional album for me because that's another thing I'd always wanted to do, Hrishi, and that is play all the instruments myself, and produce it and record it and do. So Heaven's Child is the lead song from that album, which I did entirely on my own, Came down with a tremendous back problem doing it. But because it was really hard work, I'll tell you that. Because I played bass, I played lead, I did everything, keyboards, everything was done, harmonies. So it was my solo project, and as solo as you can get. Yeah, the other albums have been recorded abroad and stuff like that, but this one is quite exceptional in that light.
And for such an introverted, shy, quiet man, when you get on stage, you're just a complete live wire.
I think you get transformed. You really do. It's another zone. Like I've been in situations where I've literally gone completely blank as far as the band member names, and they realize that, I mean.
Because you're so in the moment.
It's another. I think if you're a genuine, serious musician, you do get transported, I can't tell you exactly where the soul goes, but it goes somewhere where you don't know, And then even after the show, you're so wired that it takes hours to come down, literally. And that hang carries on for a couple of days, Because my shows are very long to begin with, Hrishi. once we are on, we're really on. And my band is very game for that. They're excellent bunch of musicians. Apart from being great musicians, they're really nice people also. They enjoy it. I guess we all enjoy being on stage. And I can't tell you, Sinatra and Swing, the amount of labor that's gone into it, the kind of intricate arrangements there are and stuff like that. And these boys have worked so hard. I think this is all they've done. And mind you, they're really busy musicians, these boys. I mean, they sometimes play 2-3 gigs a day, and they're all from Pune. So I've had to go to Pune. Easier for one of me to go there than for 5 of them to come here, just for rehearsals. So I just came back yesterday, and now tomorrow they come to my place for one final rehearsal. And then we are on to Tata Theatre with a absolute challenge, It's really a challenge. And they've taken it as such. And they're young, mind you, They probably, a lot of them weren't even born when this music was out.
Wow.
Yeah, they're a lovely bunch. Wonderful. I'm very blessed.
Sinatra and Swing, Gary Lawyer at the Tata Theatre. Here's Gary's Heaven's Child. Back in a bit, 10:36, I'm Hrishi K. That wonderful guitar solo from Heaven's Child.
Yeah.
Gary Lawyer in the house.
Chris
Fonseca, your guitar player was going to be on stage with you.
Who's going to be doing Sinatra. He's the guitar player. Great guitar player.
Sinatra and Swing. Gary Lawyer live at the Tata Theatre on Sunday at 7 p.m. Tickets at Book My Show as well as at the venue. More conversation.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Sorry, I'm going to put you in the spot. Unfortunately, radio audiences don't get to hear you that often. You've got to sing a little for me. Just a few lines. Please.
What do I sing? Okay. Let's take a simple standard.
Yeah.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore trees. Dream a little dream of me.
Dream a little dream of me. Beautiful. I have a beautiful South version of it, The song is so beautiful. It can be interpreted in so many ways.
Sure.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that people like Uday Benegal, Mahesh Dinaikar, Zubin Balaporia, yourself.
They're all great musicians.
Auntie Usha, back in the day, her son Sunny and me went to school together. So
right, yeah.
I still call her Auntie Usha. I can't get myself to call her just Usha. All of you are still going strong and gigging. How wonderful is that? So true legends of Indian music, people that, your colleagues that you've admired over the sands of time.
Yeah.
Who would they be?
I'd say Louis Banks for sure. Indus Creed boys, very good. Excellent songwriters as well.
Yeah.
Ranjit Bharat, Sumit Ramchandran. I mean, that way India is so full of talent here. I could go on and on. To name a few is to leave out thousands, because India is a land of talent. I'm convinced about that. Also, one thing I have to add is Western music really doesn't get its due.
Correct.
I think we need corporate sponsorship, we need media, we need, print, we need a lot, because we are essentially an English-speaking nation,
Yeah.
And case in point is when you get a foreign rock band, see the turnout,
I don't think Coldplay themselves imagine the number of people that would show up there. Chris Martin and the boys.
You're absolutely right. I remember when we opened for Bryan Adams, we were hanging out with his band, and they were a little skeptical about the amount of people that
will show up.
Would show up. And I believe, if I've got the figure right, there was over 40,000 tickets sold.
That's right.
And these guys were stunned, because they didn't anticipate that. It's just that I'm so convinced that we have a huge Western music audience, albeit with no kind of backing as such. It's it's a pity, in a sense. We have so much talent.
But the good part is at least you can make your music and just put it online.
Now you
don't have to go and
now
look for a record label. And,
now
things
you
like
don't need to go through all that.
So that thing is coming into the music business, which is great for artists.
Oh, yeah.
You can just do your thing, which is what you're doing. That's lovely.
Yeah, for the first time, actually, my last album, all the other albums have been on labels. For the first time, I didn't have to worry about going and meeting anybody or, just put it online.
Lovely. Yeah. We're going to do some messages and come back for a last leg of conversation with Gary Lawyer. You have any comments or any questions, any reactions? Happy to read it out on air. I've already got about 4 of them, which I will read out at the end of this show. So 1 space your comment or 1 space your question and name to 53650. 53650 is the in-studio SMS line. On Twitter as well as Facebook, you go to the search bar, you type HRISHIKAY, will pop up. You tweet out your comment or your question. If you've heard Gary, you've loved his music, if you've seen him live, tell us about it. And pop your name in there, and on Facebook, of course, on the timeline or inbox, and facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. There again, look forward to hearing from you on the timeline or inbox. 10:46, see you in a bit.
94.3 Radio 1.
Rihanna, Umbrella, last leg of conversation with Gary Lawyer. He is on stage. It's called Sinatra Swing. On Sunday at the Tata Theatre, there are going to be absolute gems coming your way with this wonderful band of his from Pune. Oswald Crasto says, Gary, you legend. Kapil says, with that baritone, Hrishi K is all set to lose. Have to lose to Gary. Yeah? He's the original. All of us are merely pretenders. And thank you for all your messages on Facebook. I'm reading these out. Rimi Harindran. So cool to hear and see the man with the golden voice. Waiting for more of your magic, cheering from Singapore. Edward Norona. Hi Rishi, I am an MC. I've always loved Gary's music. Ajay Patwardhan. Getting to see Gary Lawyer after ages. Yeah, same here. Edward Norona. Nice to see Gary, he continues. Sudha Raman, he's a legend indeed. Samir Attarwala, awesome stuff. See?
Wow.
All your fans, your friends,
thank you.
Shouting out. A last leg of conversation.
Didn't anticipate that at all.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
Okay, so let's come back to the show right now.
Yeah.
We've talked considerably about Sinatra, some of the other acts that you're going to bring on stage. What can we expect?
You mean in terms of songs, in terms of repertoire?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of Dean Martin, a lot of Nat King Cole, a lot of Ray Charles. Also, I want to kind of link it to, the influences, link...
Sammy Davis Jr.?
Sammy Davis, yes, yeah. By and large, at this point, I'm kind of keeping it very fluid because, like I say, there are about 50 songs that are rehearsed, and I planned that this evening I should sit down, just clear my head a bit and make a list and see where it goes. But one thing's for certain, we'll try and make it as varied as possible. So you go through up tempos and mid tempos and swings and ballads and intense songs and light songs and
Don't come there expecting his other heroes, which is Jim Morrison and Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, absolute hero, of course. I'm a huge Morrison follower.
Okay.
If only Jim Morrison had really sung jazz standards, with his texture of voice, really. I've rarely heard a timbre like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't even studio created because back in the day you didn't have
that's the beauty of the Doors. I mean, of course, it's not contrived that we're speaking of the Doors, but the point is I've always thought it's the most innovative band I've ever heard because they all came from different directions.
Correct.
Blues, jazz. Morrison was the only guy who didn't know where he was coming from. That's what made him so exceptional as a singer. And it wouldn't be wrong to maybe throw in a couple of the Doors. I've read on many occasions that the Doors, whenever they composed a ballad, always thought of Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
And the reason they didn't go present it to him was because they were scared of a rejection, because Sinatra was always too big. But
that's
Your
interesting.
Lost Little Girl and ballads like that, they always thought of Sinatra. And Sinatra is supposed to have said that this guy sounds so much like me, somebody get him into an accident. This is what I've read.
Trivia.
Yeah.
That is trivia. That is trivia. So, Gary, on stage at the Tata Theatre, tickets are at the venue and at Book My Show. Listen, have a great gig.
Thank you, Hrishi.
And I hope to be in the audience.
You must. You must, Hrishi.
Kaigo, remind me to forget back in a bit with cricket action. 11 a.m. I'm Hrishi K.